WBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly.
The longest-running pro wrestling radio talk show in the history of terrestrial radio.
And he's obviously Michael Cole.
Call in with a question or comment at 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149.
Talking wrestling.
Yeah.
Because that's what this show's about. That's what we've been doing for over 16 years.
No. It's about sports entertainment.
And now here are your hosts of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Fearon and Lucas DeSangro.
Will you stop marking out over there?
Sorry.
Move over, kid. I'm taking your microphone.
You're shallow. You know that?
I'm running on 2 hours of sleep. I don't remember what the hell I do anymore. Shut up! There's the sound of the bell, and we are set to go. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon here, flying solo today. Lucas is down at the MF Super Camp down in Paulsboro, New Jersey. And, well, this has been a not so great week just across the board here. As we'll start off with the big news of the week. A legend in terms of professional wrestling passing away. Bruno Sammartino died on Wednesday morning at the age of 82. The cause of death unknown at this time. He was reportedly hospitalized and had been for a while when he had died. Sammartino, known as the living legend, and for good reason. He was the face of the Worldwide Wrestling Federation when it was promoted by Vincent J. McMahon, father of current owner Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Sammartino has a record in WWE that will likely never be broken, and I know they say never in professional wrestling, but I think this is a notable exception in this case, as the first of his two WWF Championship reigns lasted 2,803 days. That's just a little over 7.5 years. When he lost the title to Ivan Koloff back in 1971, the arena was deafeningly silent, akin to recent times when The Undertaker lost at WrestleMania 30 to Brock Lesnar, ending his undefeated WrestleMania streak. And Sammartino followed that up in December of '73, defeating Stan Stasiak to win the championship back, and he held on to it for another 3+ years, taking his total length of reign as heavyweight champion to just over 11 years. To give you an idea, Hulk Hogan is in a distant second place as far as that, holding the title for a combined roughly 6 years over 6 different reigns from 1984 to 2002. Sammartino was a tremendous draw for the company, and even after being out of the title picture, he had a huge feud with former student Larry Zbyszko back in 1980, leading to a memorable showdown at Shea Supercard that also featured Hulk Hogan against Andre the Giant 7 years before their WrestleMania 3 clash. Sammartino was also a great spokesman for professional wrestling, and yet was never afraid to be critical of WWE when it was deserved. In the mid-'80s, he came out of retirement to feud with the likes of Randy Savage and Rowdy Roddy Piper, and even accompanied his son David Sammartino in a lot of cases to the ring, and also contributed on commentary. And after leaving the WWF in 1988, Sammartino was extremely outspoken against the use of steroids and other illicit drugs, as well as borderline obscene wrestling angles throughout the 1990s. And during that time, he made some appearances for WCW, and on a few occasions early on with my preceding host of this program, Eric the Loose Cannon Gargiulo. He was a guest on a few different occasions here on this show, and I got the chance to talk to him once off air, and that was, we never got the chance to chat on here on air, and that's, I was going to say that's unfortunate, but what is fortunate is that he accepted WWE's invitation to be inducted into the company's Hall of Fame in 2013 after satisfaction with the way they had addressed his concerns with the direction of the business. And he was inducted April 6th, 2013 by Arnold Schwarzenegger, another powerful name in terms of a lot of different things. And also, well, he would go on in 2015, in March of 2015, to induct Larry Zbyszko into the WWE Hall of Fame. So Bruno Sammartino, dead at the age of 82, a huge loss into the wrestling community. Also, it was announced on Wednesday, as if that wasn't... There was so much that was going on Wednesday, unfortunately, in terms of passings, even a few things I didn't know about. I mean, as you heard on the news leading up to this here, former First Lady Barbara Bush, and one that kind of flew under the radar here for me, as was told to me by none other than our own country cousin here, Ted Efaw. Apparently, For fans of the 80s sitcom Night Court, apparently Harry Anderson also passed away. So, not exactly a great week, including this in the world of wrestling here, as it was announced Wednesday that Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling star #1 Paul Jones had passed away this week near his home in Atlanta, Georgia. Jones was a popular wrestler in the Mid-Atlantic territories in the 1970s before turning on his young protege, Ricky Steamboat, leading to one of the bloodiest feuds of the 1970s. And in the 80s, he went on to become a manager of a number of different wrestlers in Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, and the cause of death is unknown. Jones was 75 years of age. Man, what a way to bring everybody down, right? Just in the first 5 or 6 minutes here. Oh man, what can you do? I suppose it's. Well, I guess we'll try to turn things around here. We'll coming up in the hour. We've got an interview. I've got an interview that I did about, a little less than 48 hours ago with current MLW heavyweight champion Shane Strickland. Who's they're doing some things in Major League Wrestling, MLW. They had their debut TV program last night on beIN Sports, MLW Fusion, and he talks a little bit about that and a whole lot of other stuff. We'll have that coming up in the second segment for you. But first, let's go ahead and get right to the phones here, where we've got a look at the local scene, courtesy of Ed from Northeast Philly. Ed, welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly.
That's a shock about Harry Anderson. I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, it threw me for a loop too. I mean, he had passed on Monday, and it kind of flew under the radar with everything else between Barbara Bush and Bruno and #1 Paul Jones. It's not been a good week. I mean, he was only 65 when he passed. It was Harry Anderson.
He was sick or anything.
It kind of threw for me either. Apparently, earlier this year, a few months ago, he had several strokes that caused a decline in his health, and then influenza. But yeah, it looks like it was a heart attack that took care of him. Man, there's a lot of death today. I don't like it.
Who's next? Maybe Undertaker.
Yeah, that's not the Goldberg question we want to ask here, Ed.
That's true. Maybe Undertaker's making his rounds.
Well, yeah, I guess he's collecting souls. Yeah, exactly. No. Man. Anyway, what's going on in the local scene here, Ed?
Anyway, ECWA Super 8 tournament is the 22nd annual in Newcastle, Delaware, at Asbury United Church. Asriel, Cheeseburger, Joe Gacy, and Ty Awesome.
Among others, that's tonight, right?
Tonight, 7 p.m. bell time.
That certainly should be a goodie. As I'm taking a look at it here, I see Chase Owens and Mike Law and Richard Holiday. I was gonna say a few names that I've seen over the course of a little bit here. I mean, I know I've worked with Anthony Green and Cheeseburger and Richard Holiday on one occasion. So that certainly should be good. I also see there's a 10-person tag match where all the respective titles are on the line, plus the Summit over-the-top rope battle royal. So that's pretty doggone good card there that's going to be going on tonight.
Yeah, Chikara is next weekend at the Wrestle Factory in Northeast Philly.
Yeah, I was there not too long ago as a guest for one of their power hours.
I think they're doing one either today or next near future.
That's I'm trying to take a look at it here as far as what's coming up with that here. Yeah, last week they had their Tag World Grand Prix. And then next week at 3 o'clock is going to be Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes.
Nice name.
Yeah, they certainly do have some interesting names. You are certainly right about that. And looking at some of the other ones coming up here, that's a fun one on my birthday. Going to Egg Monsters from Mars. Okay, Chikara is definitely something different that Mike Quackenbush has going on down there. That's for sure.
I didn't know about that last week's show about I had up the street, too.
Up the street?
At the Holmesburg Boys Club.
Oh, yeah. I didn't get the chance to make it. I was really hoping to.
I seen your buddy there.
Yeah, he was telling me. The great Harry Barnett was telling me he ran India there. Yeah, that's yeah, really, really fun guy. That is for sure.
And next one is May 19th.
Yes, he did tell me about that, and I said that I should be able to make an appearance pending Kane coming and haunting me, as May 19th is a very significant day for him, as we've all found out.
I'm not sure of the bell time yet. I didn't catch the bell time. Maybe the same bell time.
Well, I can see what I can find out about that. I know that.
And I think they said something about Pottstown or Pottsgrove on May 5th, but I forgot to write it down.
Well, I'm taking a look here, and at least at their Twitter, and it doesn't quite. Okay, we'll have a Blockbuster announcer. Okay, they mentioned the show May 19th, but the details aren't quite, at least up on their Twitter, from what I can see.
Speaking of May 19th, that's the HOH at the arena with Tommy Dreamer.
Oh, HOH is. Oh man, it seems like there's always something going on. It's a good problem to have.
And Wildcat comes back to the arena on June 2nd.
Oh, okay. So that will be coming up soon as well. Yeah, as I go to their website, I see they have the show from last week. So I'm looking to see what. Yeah, their website even has some of the previous and older events, but it doesn't have the. Oh wow. Okay, PG-13. Yeah, there's a few from the past, but nothing coming up as far as the next event on May 19th in terms of details. I'm sure that'll be coming up soon, though.
And the Click is doing mill rounds in Maryland for MCW. HBK, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, X-Pac. That's this weekend in MCW Arena in Joplin, Maryland.
Huh. Oh, very nice.
To the legends.
That should be a lot of fun as well. Certainly a lengthy trek, but certainly well worth it.
And that's about it.
All righty. Well, appreciate the look at the local scene as always. Certainly a lot of good stuff coming up.
That's a shame about Bruno, though.
Yeah.
I met him on a number of occasions.
Yeah, Bruno is a great guy. I mean, he was a picture of health for a while, but there were apparently some ailments that were bugging him over the course of the last couple of months, and I mean, unfortunately, as time drags on.
Years ago, right by Woodhaven Mall. This was back in the 90s.
Oh, okay, yeah, this is when he was still distancing himself from WWE and.
Tri-State Wrestling Alliance. They had him on a couple shows back in the day.
Yeah, I remember.
With Joe Goodhart.
A few years ago, at least more recently, that he was at an event and was interviewed by my good buddy of the shows here, RC of Completely Damaged.
I haven't heard anything from him lately. Is he still doing?
Well, I can tell you that he has had some personal and family issues that have kept him from keeping his rounds, and that's really as much as I think I can say, as I don't want to necessarily speak for him, but I mean, RC and I are pretty close, and I know that he really wants to be able to do so, but he's trying to handle his business involving his family. That comes first. And but he definitely misses being out there and doing Completely Damaged. He misses being here on the show and is looking forward to coming back as well. And we're working on figuring out a game plan to be able to get him at least on here for the first time in a long while, but at the same time not take away from some of the other personal business that he has to handle, if you will.
And Balls Mahoney, that was, I think they died on the same day, almost. Bruno and Balls Mahoney.
Well, let's see. For Balls Mahoney, it was April 12th.
April 12th? I thought it was like later on.
And it was April 12th as opposed to April 18th for Bruno.
Close, too close.
Yeah, it was one day. Gosh, it's scary to think that was 2 years ago now that that Balls had passed, and that was just one day after his 44th birthday.
And that's about it.
Man, we have all these. I'm telling you, I need to
to
hit the
bring it
reset
out.
button here as far as
We
the
need
show.
some
I just
kind
feel
of
like.
lift-off.
Yeah, I feel like the news this week, as well as rainy days and Mondays, seem to always bring me down when it comes to the show here. A little nod to the Carpenters. I certainly hope so. It's going to be a long day to say the least, as we've got a lot going on here. So we'll see. Coming up, we've got the great interview here and. With Shane Strickland, that'll be coming up on the other side of the timeout, and got some other news to get into the superstar shakeup with WWE, future endeavoring of another kind, and some other MLW news that goes along with.
Like it's good.
TNA's always kind of in an interesting spot here. Plus, we've got the Today in Wrestling History, the birthdays. So we've got some good stuff coming your way. Plus, we're throwing it in there because why the heck not, since it's this coming Friday. We'll have predictions certain to go wrong for the Greatest Royal Rumble coming up this Friday at noon Eastern. That's going to be airing live from Saudi Arabia. I know we've been talking about it for weeks. What do we have here? The 9 matches that are on the card. I did get Lucas's picks for that before he headed on down to the camp, and we'll go over those a little bit later in the hour as well.
Until next week, because I think I'm way past my time limit.
Yeah, I was going to say we're a little bit late for the break. I know that the program director is always watching, so I got to
Sorry about that, Teddy. Me rambling on.
That's all right. I'm sure he'll. I don't even know where to go with that. To keep me out of trouble, I'll just leave it at that. But thanks for checking in as always. We'll catch up next week, and we'll take care of some business here. Come back. We've got the Shane Strickland interview on the other side. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Chickies and Pete's, your favorite local sports bar, is home to the official watch parties for the playoffs. If you can't be there, be here. The best in-game experiences at Chickies and Pete's. Nobody does it better. Daily drink specials, ice-cold draft beer, a wide selection of craft beers, world-famous crab fries, and all your Chickies and Pete's food favorites. If you can't be there, be here for all the playoff action and the best in-game experience. Chickies and Pete's, your favorite local sports bar, is also now open in Marlton, New Jersey. ChickiesandPete's.com for locations and specials.
People join Walk MS to raise awareness and funds that change the world for everyone affected by multiple sclerosis. Walk MS brings communities together, creating teams with friends, loved ones, and coworkers to rally around those we care about and end MS forever. Together, we can change the world for people with MS. Register today at walkms.org.
All commentators heard on WBCB express their own views. Their opinions are not necessarily those of others on WBCB, including the staff and management.
You won't see termites crawling across your floor, but thousands might be devouring the wood in your walls, weakening the structure of your home. For over 50 years, Termite Proofing and Pest Control of the Delaware Valley has been in the exterminating business. If you think you have a pest problem, they're the experts. Call them today at 215-639-5455. That's 215-639-5455 for TPPC. Termite Proofing and Pest Control of the Delaware Valley gives your home or business peace of mind, knowing your pest problem is in their hands. Located at 1560 Bristol Pike in Bensalem, they use only EPA-approved material applied by licensed technicians. Call Termite Proofing and Pest Control of the Delaware Valley at 215-639-5455.
Your health is your most precious asset. Tune in to St. Mary Healthline Wednesday at 9 a.m. for advice on how to better manage your health. You will hear about important medical issues from the doctors and professionals across all service lines from St. Mary Medical Center. You will have the opportunity to talk or email your questions to the experts who can help you live a healthier lifestyle. St. Mary Healthline, Wednesdays at 9 a.m. It's your health. Expect more.
See, he's got the Luigi death stare from Fearon, so he might have...
I didn't give you the Luigi death stare. That's not true.
You're breaking kayfabe.
Breaking kayfabe. Gonna break something else during this commercial.
There we go. That's what I like to see.
And now, more Pro Wrestling Weekly with your hosts, Fearon Derry and Lucas DeSangro.
Are we getting into that controversy again?
I know how it feels, and it's not fun.
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you. Not alongside Lucas. He is down in Paulsboro at the MF Super Camp. We've got the Super Camp Super Show coming up later tonight, and I'll be doing commentary for that. At least I'm pretty sure I am. Meanwhile, here on the show, as I'd mentioned about 42 hours ago or so, I had the opportunity to speak with Shane Strickland, who you may know here in the Philadelphia area as he wrestled for CZW for a time a few years ago and Combat Zone Wrestling and won the World Heavyweight Championship there as well as the Wired TV Championship on 2 different occasions. And he is now over in MLW, Major League Wrestling, and is their current heavyweight champion as he won a tournament final last week and had the chance to chat with him for a few minutes as he was making the rounds prior to the debut last night on Be In Sports of Major League Wrestling Fusion, their television show that started last night and is looking to continue to be a thing. And here it is, the conversation that I had with Shane Strickland. 1490 WBCB, this is Pro Wrestling Weekly. Fearon Derry here with you, and on the line here, well, we're talking with Shane Strickland, the current MLW, that's Major League Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion, and I'll talk a little bit, I guess we'll start off with about Major League Wrestling for those who may not be as familiar with it, Shane.
Major League Wrestling was a promotion that was ran early 2000s, I would say, early 2000s, mid 2000s, and they had some of the best talent you could even possibly imagine. That went on to become superstars in the world of professional wrestling. You had CM Punk that was there, Steve Bruno, Samoa Joe, Umaga at the time as well. Like just when they were 3-minute warning, him and Rosie. So. Or Jamal and Rosie. So just like to name a few big world talent guys there. The resurgence came around November, I would say, or November of 2017, when we had the first show MLW 360, and it featured so many freaking amazingly talented guys from around the world, you know. And I was lucky and fortunate enough and blessed with the opportunity to be the main event against Ricochet, who's now on WWE NXT, and like now to see 5 months later how it's flourishing and just performing amazingly right now, and seeing where it's going to progress to is it's unbelievable, and we're all excited to see where it's going to go.
It most certainly is exciting as I've gotten to take a look a little bit at it heading in here, and one thing I noted that the title that you have is something that you recently won, and a familiar face to those of us here in this area, at least I know because I've been gushing about him from when we trained with him at the Monster Factory, but Matt Riddle, whom you beat in the finals to win that title. Talk a little bit about how that went down for those who didn't get the chance to see it.
It was based out of a tournament that we were having to crown the first MLW champion in the new era, in the reboot of the era of MLW, and it came down to Matt Riddle, who faced off against like ACH, against Jeff Cobb, and I, on the other side of the bracket, had to face against Jimmy Havoc and Brody King. So we both had like very, very tough, a tough path to get to the main, to get to the finals of the tournament. And just facing off against Matt Riddle, who's one of the best in the industry right now, was honestly, like, to me, it was honestly one of the biggest challenges I've ever had in pro wrestling this far in my career. it was also a lot of pressure on both of our backs, on both of our shoulders, to be able to be crowned not only just the champion, but the guy who's going to be the face of the company going forward. So there's just so much pressure on that. Matt is a phenomenal athlete, just someone who came into pro wrestling and just grabbed the art so quickly and made it his own, and is doing it so well. He's very dangerous in the ring as well. Can be just one of the most dangerous guys that can break every limb in your body. But I was fortunate enough not to face any of those injuries, but I bested them in the end, and I'm pretty sure this is not going to be the last time I'll be facing Matt Riddle in a pro wrestling ring.
And certainly looking forward to any potential rematch and some of the other matches coming up here. And you'd mentioned pressure. How does the pressure come in, as we're actually just, at the time that we're recording this, 1 day away, but at the time this airs would have been last night for the purposes of full exposure and disclosure, but of the debut of MLW Fusion on the beIN Sports Network. Is there any pressure about the move to television, given how quickly things have risen over the course of the past 6 months with the MLW brand?
Oh, absolutely. With any type of media forum, when you're going to be advancing into the next level of it, it's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of risk. A lot of promotions, I would say, undersell the product that they're promoting to go to television or go to another media streaming service, and it ends up costing them a lot of money. It ends up costing them a big fan base. So MLW we're in the great position to be able to produce a great product with some of the best talents in the world. So we're bringing in fans from other promotions, other walks of just like the entertainment business in wrestling and stuff, and we're drawing them in. Orlando's always been like a big pool for talent and for wrestling, with the Performance Center being just around the corner from us. But now I feel like, now being based in the Orlando area, we're bringing a whole other fan base. We're pulling fan bases from that side into watching MLW. And I feel like once we get that strong fan base, which we already have a really great one, beIN Sports being added on to that, it pulls everybody in, and it's just only going to grow, and it's going to grow naturally. That's what you really want, instead of just like really just trying to grab an entire thousands and thousands and millions of fan base all at once. You want it to grow naturally. I feel like being with beIN Sports is going to happen.
It totally makes sense. You don't want to, you want to have that gradual build as opposed to just kind of a quick burst and then a fizzle outward.
Absolutely.
Now, coming up not too far from now, you've got on May 3rd, you're going to be with MLW's Intimidation Games event. You're defending that newly won heavyweight title against the #1 contender, Pentagon Jr., someone very well traveled in the lucha world. Talk a little bit about that, your mindset heading into that matchup in a couple of weeks here.
Definitely, I'm going to have to rearrange my entire game plan from scratch dealing with Pentagon, because he's not the type of competitor that Matt Riddle was. He's not the ground submission type. He's not the ground and pound type of athlete. He's very brawl heavy. He's very charismatic as well, and at the same time can be very dangerous, and he can pull out anything, anywhere, especially with his type of lucha style that he deals with. So dealing with him, dealing with Matt Riddle, I had to be on a defensive mode a lot, because his offense can come from anywhere. Being with Pentagon, I'm going to have to go on the offense and have to beat him to the punch a lot of times, because he's a very unpredictable. So you want to get to him before the unpredictable offense comes out. So you have to be a little bit quicker. You have to be more instinctive, I would say, against Pentagon.
It's almost a little less cautious and just, almost throwing caution to the wind, as you know how things are. You know to expect the unexpected when it comes to somebody like Pentagon Jr.
Absolutely. So you want to get ahead of it, for sure.
Most certainly. And it was just announced that Jake Hager has not only signed, but will also wrestle against Jeff Cobb at that MLW Intimidation Games event on May 3rd in Orlando. What kind of name value does somebody like Hager, who previously wrestled in WWE as Jack Swagger, bring to the MLW organization?
Oh, it brings legitimacy. Especially being the fact that he's also signed with Bellator and a professional fighter, as well as Matt Riddle was. I feel like having somebody with the resume that he has, alongside with the college All-American wrestling background, with the Bellator thing, that just brings so much legitimacy to the sport. And it's also, we're in this new age of professional wrestling and performing in the ring, where these guys are different kind of athletes than they were in the early 2000s, different kind of athletes that they were in the 90s and the late 80s. So he adds so much more to that, and him picking up on this new age style from where he was on television, he's grasped it very well from everything that I've been saying in the past year. On the independent level, he's just grasped it so well, and he's going to bring so much more. And just having someone that size, it's just like the viewer can't help but just watch, stop turning channels and just watch him and come to the show and just be in awe in the size and the speed that he has.
Without question. We're talking with MLW Heavyweight Champion, World Heavyweight Champion Shane Strickland here on Pro Wrestling Weekly, and looking forward to a lot of things to come here with the MLW brand. It's something that's certainly been, as you'd mentioned, expanding over the course of the past 6 months, and as I look at the roster here, it's certainly a very impressive who's who of names from the past as well as names from the present, and definitely names like yourself from the future, for the present and future, as you're the heavyweight champion currently. But looking at, names like MVP, looking at someone who I've gotten the chance to work with, Maxwell Jacob Friedman. Just to name a couple, Joey Janela. There's a lot of great talent in there, and that's just, I could spend the whole hour here talking about all of them here. But I guess where do you see as the next step? Not just for yourself as champion, but as far as where things are going with this new venture on beIN Sports.
International. That's honestly where everybody wants to break out, especially when you reach the national stage on television. You want to reach international. You want to reach the broader audience over the pond. You want to reach the guys over the border in Mexico and Canada. You want to get to Japan as well. You want everybody hearing your name. That's everybody's goal to maintain. Even other television products on TV, national televised, they trying to reach other markets like the China, the Saudi Arabia. They want to get every single continent watching their product, and I believe that's what MLW and beIN Sports is working together on accomplishing, and that's what everybody wants to do. If not everybody's going to be able to do it, I feel like MLW has a big chance with doing it with beIN Sports.
And we're certainly looking forward to that. Well, Shane, I want to thank you for taking a few minutes with us here for Pro Wrestling Weekly. I know you've got a pretty hectic and busy schedule. I think from what I saw, thanks to social media, making your way over to ESPN Orlando in a little bit, I believe.
Yes, sir. I'm just leaving the gym right now as we were speaking, and I'm going to get home, change, wash up, prepare, get my media face on, and then change, and then get in the car and head over there and do another interview.
Well, it's good that we were able to at least give you a little warm-up as far as your media voice. I appreciate you taking a few times with us here.
I really thank you for that.
Oh, no problem. And look forward to seeing more of you on beIN Sports, which here in the Philadelphia area you can check out locally on Xfinity Channel 726 as well as Comcast Channel 1227. And you can also look for beIN Sports online. It's BEIN sports.com/US. You can check out a lot more from there, and not just wrestling, but a lot of the other sports that you wouldn't otherwise see, as they're becoming the new sports channel to go to.
Oh yeah.
Alrighty, Shane. Well, best of luck. Thank you again, and looking forward to seeing you on the 3rd against Pentagon Jr.
Thank you very much, man.
Thank you. There you have it, Shane Strickland, making his way into Major League Wrestling, holding the heavyweight title and trying to take things further for beIN Sports. I guess trying to be the new four-letter sports network here in the United States. And we're going to take care of a little bit more business, but you know what time it is. Got to talk about our friends over at the Broken Goblet Brewery, 1500 Grundy's Lane in Bristol, PA. Try some of the delicious variety of brews currently on tap, including the return of Old Toby, the Belgian Pale Ale brewed with basil. Also the new 2018 version of Bubba's Tea Bag with Bohemian Raspberry flavor. Also back on tap is the Under Her Spell Saison, the Impact IPA, and the Belgian Dark Strong Ale Trademark, among others. It's always a good time at the Broken Goblet Brewery, 1500 Grundy's Lane in Bristol, PA. Broken Goblet Brewing, the semi-official brewery of Pro Wrestling Weekly. Please enjoy responsibly. And enjoy responsibly. Last Saturday night I did, at least for a little bit, as I had found out that playing last Saturday was none other than something a little familiar to longtime listeners here of WBCB, Steal Your Face. That's right, the one of the old bosses' bands was on stage, and it was nice to reconnect with the big kahuna, Paul Baroli. Full disclosure, he was the one who brought me in here almost a decade ago, so it was nice to catch up with him. And he was always a big wrestling guy. He helped get us some trade agreement things and some other stuff when TNA Bound for Glory came into town back in 2011. Got us a meet and greet with Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair and Sting. That was where I also got to meet Eric Bischoff, the sounder that we use here a lot of times coming out of the Today in Wrestling History segments. So really, really cool to meet up with him again. And even though our paths have been a little bit different, to kind of have them intersect at least for one night and catch up and kvetz, it was very much like old times. A little bit deep into the night last Saturday night. And they have a lot of different musical guests, and looking forward to the big move that they've got coming up in probably about a month and a half or so to the new big place. You can check them out at Broken Goblet Brewing on Facebook. They've been putting up a bunch of pictures of the new bigger location they're going to be moving to, and we'll have more details on that move as it gets a little bit closer. Coming back here, we've got more news and whatnot to get into. Also, the predictions starting to go wrong for the Greatest Royal Rumble event coming up this Friday. All that and a bunch more. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
I'm Jean Coyle, President and CEO of Penn Community Bank. Penn Community Bank is truly different from most banks you hear about. We operate under a mutual charter. We are not publicly traded. We have no outside stockholders. We exist to serve our communities. What does this mean for you? Fair fees, local decisions, and a long-term strategy focused on our customers. Check us out at penncommunitybank.com.
Penn Community Bank is a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender.
I'm Henry Carpenter, a certified elder law attorney, and we're Bucks County Elder Law, a life care planning law firm. The aging of roughly 77 million baby boomers sent a silver tsunami over all aspects of business, including healthcare, finance, real estate, and law. Our lifestyles are different now, too. Adult children may not live near their parents, and many of them are working full-time, and so are their spouses. At Bucks County Elder Law, we recognize this paradigm shift. There has been a change in thinking when it comes to planning for and taking care of our elderly. A paradigm shift is a revolution, a transformation, a sort of metamorphosis. It just does not happen, but rather it is driven by agents of change. Bucks County Elder Law has embraced these agents of change by providing an integrated approach to the legal care, financial care, and quality of life care for our clients. At Bucks County Elder Law, we empower you to make the best legal, care, and planning decisions for you and your family. We invite you to call us today at 215-493-0727 to schedule a free initial consultation. Join us each Tuesday at 9 a.m. for Senior Legal Strategies right here on WBCB, and to visit our website at www.buckscountyelderlaw.com.
Tasty Cake would like to salute you, the great sports fans of Philadelphia. Whether your team is up or down, there's one winner you always count on: Tasty Cake. With fan favorites like candy cakes, crimpets, mini donuts, and our famous pies, Tasty Cake has been Philly's ticket to Major League goodness for over 100 years. Find Tasty Cake treats at a store near you, for yourself, for your team, and just for the fun of it. Tasty Cake.
Pro Wrestling Weekly presents Today in Wrestling History, April 21. On this date in 1985, the AWA held its Starcade 85 Supercard. In the main event, Jerry Blackwell and Sergeant Slaughter defeated King Tonga, the Masked Superstar, and Sheikh Adnan Al-Qaisi in a steel cage handicap tag team match. On this date in 2002, the WWF held its Backlash pay-per-view. In the main event, Hulk Hogan pinned Triple H to win the WWF Undisputed Championship. It was the last American pay-per-view to use the WWF moniker. On this date in 2008, WWE Monday Night Raw King of the Ring aired live from Greenville, South Carolina. In the main event, Chavo Guerrero, Edge, JBL, and Randy Orton defeated John Cena, The Undertaker, Kane, and Triple H in an 8-man tag team match. This has been Today in Wrestling History, April 21. Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you solo as Lucas is down at the MF Super Camp, and I'll be joining him in a little bit once we get done with things here. Got the MF Super Camp show going on tonight down at the Monster Factory. Also want to let you know that coming up on Saturday, May 5th, that's right, just 2 weeks away, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Sportsplex at 1331 O'Reilly Drive in Feasterville, PA, is the Icons of Wrestling Convention and Fan Fest. So far confirmed, you got WWE Hall of Famers Jeff Jarrett, Jake the Snake Roberts, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and Tito Santana. Also scheduled to appear, Sean Waltman, formerly known as X-Pac, and Ray Apollo appearing as Doink the Clown. And then later that night, Battleground Championship Wrestling. Doors open at 7. The action starts at 8. You'll see a battle of Hall of Famers as Hacksaw Jim Duggan faces Nikolai Volkov. And plus, in the main event, Dan Maff takes on Matt Tremont in a 4 Corners of Pain match. All this and more just 2 weeks away, Saturday, May 5th, for the Icons of Wrestling Convention and Fan Fest during the day and Battleground Championship Wrestling at night. More info at thecollectorfest.com and battlegroundcw.com. Lots of fun stuff there. So, as we were talking with Shane Strickland, and we made mention to it in the interview, Jake Hager, who wrestled as Jack Swagger in WWE, has signed a multi-fight deal with Major League Wrestling. Hager will debut at the May 3rd MLW Intimidation Games event in Orlando, Florida at Gilt Nightclub. And Hager will be managed by Colonel Robert Parker. That should be a fun one. The MLW Intimidation Games event is headlined, as mentioned earlier, by Shane Strickland against Pentagon Jr. for the MLW Championship. And the Fusion television show for MLW made its debut on beIN Sports last night. And they announced that Jake Hager's first opponent in their promotion will be Jeff Cobb at that Intimidation Games event. So that is some good stuff to look forward to, and make sure to check out beIN Sports for more info on that. Also of note, Netflix has announced that the second season of Glow, The Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, will drop on Friday, June 29th. Netflix passed along this info regarding Season 2. It says, quote, Season 2 follows the women of Glow as they become local celebrities, confronting the good, the bad, and the ugly realities of their newfound fame. As Ruth, played by Allison Brie, and Debbie, played by Betty Gilpin, settle into the day-to-day of making a season of TV together, they confront lingering issues at the heart of their friendship. That sounds pretty familiar. But enough about the self-professed celebrity here. Yes. Sam, played by Mark Marone, is still Sam, but now he has a teenage daughter living with him and 20 episodes to churn out. The wrestling is harder, the stakes are higher, and the hair is even bigger. Kia Stevens, known in WWE as Karma and better known in TNA as Awesome Kong, she returns to the series for the second season. So, pretty good stuff looking there. Also, a future endeavoring of another kind. That's right, Tyrus has announced his latest departure from Impact Wrestling, saying on Instagram, quote, I've been a part of Impact Wrestling, worked with a lot of good people, and for the most part enjoyed my time. Having said that, as I've grown, change is good, and there defiantly, I don't know if he meant to say definitely there, has been a lot of changes, and today, after much contemplation, it's time for me to move on from Impact. Creatively, we just don't see eye to eye on anything, and I beat EC3, so I'm good. I wish them well in their future endeavors. End quote. So, I don't know. Does that mean might see the return of Brodus Clay? I guess time will tell. Also, the Superstar Shakeup happened this week. For those who missed what occurred, those going from Raw to SmackDown, you've got The Miz, U.S. Champion Jeff Hardy. That's right, he beat Jinder Mahal this past Monday. Also, Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose, Samoa Joe, Eric Young coming up from NXT to go to SmackDown. Killian Dane also doing the same, as did Alexander Wolf. Big Cass, Asuka, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson, Sheamus and Cesaro, The Bar moving over to SmackDown, as well as R-Truth, Andrade Almas, and Zelina Vega, both from NXT. Meanwhile, moving from SmackDown to Raw, well, we've got Jinder Mahal along with the Singh brothers, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan. Also Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, no surprise there. Tyler Breeze and Fandango, Fashion Police moving to another night. Natalya, Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre coming up from NXT to go to Raw. That'll make our self-professed Fugazi wrestling fan and colleague Mike Samsel very happy. Also, Baron Corbin, Zack Ryder, Bobby Roode, Connor and Victor of the Ascension, Mojo Rawley, Mike Kanellis, and Chad Gable all moving over to Raw. So some interesting moves, things definitely shaken up in that regard. And from Superstar Shakeup to Superstar Breakup, John Cena and Nikki Bella called off their engagement. Oh no, and have ended their 6-year relationship. The couple issued a statement to US Weekly, quote, "While this decision was a difficult one, we continue to have a great deal of love and respect for one another. We ask that you respect our privacy during this time in our lives," end quote. Oof, well, breakups are never fun, and there's nothing really that I can joke with about that. So, yeah, what can I say? Let's go to the predictions certain to go wrong. So we have the Greatest Royal Rumble coming up. The 50-man Greatest Royal Rumble match. That's right, a 50-man Royal Rumble. You'd think WWE would have learned their lesson with the 40-man Royal Rumble that they did about 7 years ago. 30 was just right and just long enough, but I guess maybe they figured with the two 30-person Royal Rumbles between the men's and the women's, that was a kind of a test, in a sense, to see how they could handle a longer Royal Rumble match with 50. And, well, Saudi Arabia and through the network of the world, you're going to get it. So the announced entrants, only 18 of them. Daniel Bryan, The Big Show, Braun Strowman, Kurt Angle, Baron Corbin, Big E, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods, all of the New Day. Chris Jericho, Apollo, although they announced him as Apollo Crews. I don't know if that was an oopsie or not, because usually they tend to cut off the last names anymore, or make them solo names. Shelton Benjamin, Sin Cara, Elias, Chad Gable, Goldust, Titus O'Neil, Mojo Rawley, and Dolph Ziggler. I'm going with Braun Strowman among those, and Lucas is going with Daniel Bryan. Also on the card, we've got Brock Lesnar against Roman Reigns in a cage match for the Universal Championship. Lucas and I both going with Roman Reigns to take it, interestingly enough. Also, The Undertaker against, it's now switched back to Rusev in a casket match. We both think that Taker's taking that one. Triple H against John Cena. We're both thinking Cena wins. Jeff Hardy against Jinder Mahal for the U.S. Championship. I'm thinking Jinder takes it back. Lucas is going with Jeff Hardy, his boy. Bludgeon Brothers against the Usos for the SmackDown tag titles. We're thinking the Bludgeons are we both think the Bludgeons are winning that one. Sheamus and Cesaro against Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt for the vacant Raw tag titles. I'm sticking with the Bar retaining, and Lucas is going with the Woken tag team. And two more matches. Seth Rollins against The Miz, against Finn Balor, against Samoa Joe, a 4-way ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. I'm picking Rollins to retain. Lucas is invoking his multi-person clause, I suppose, and he's thinking it's either going to be Miz or Samoa Joe. So I'm kind of hoping that Rollins wins just to spite his going for 2 out of 4 in this case. And AJ Styles against Shinsuke Nakamura for the WWE Championship. We're both thinking that Styles retains on that one. So we'll certainly see how things go. And then we're not too far away from Backlash. That's just a couple weeks away up in Newark, New Jersey. So far, just 2 official matches announced of Roman Reigns against Samoa Joe and Seth Rollins defending the Intercontinental Championship against The Miz, although that certainly could change depending on what happens with the Greatest Royal Rumble coming up this Friday. All right, well, I believe we are at that point of the show. I think that it is time for... Yeah, I know, he's not here. I guess we'll... here we go. We'll throw one of these up here.
Birthdays!
Yeah, there we go. That'll work out just fine. All right, 2 plus 5 Brucey bonuses to kind of make up for it. 5 things outside of the world of wrestling. So first, on this date in 1957, Ed Leslie was born. This is going to be a fun one. The former WCW star and former WWF Tag Team Champion known as Ed Boulder, Eddie Golden, Dizzy Golden, Eddie Hogan, Dizzy Hogan, Brute Force, Baron Beefcake, Brother Brute Eye, the Clipmaster, the Butcher, the Man with No Name, the Man with No Face, Zodiac, the Booty Man, Big Brother Booty, and the Disciple, but best known as either Brutus Beefcake or Brutus the Barber Beefcake, turns 61 today. And that was a little nod to OSW Review, the wrestling video podcast that I've gushed over for a while. They did a gimmick and bit about the 18 different gimmicks of Ed Leslie's career. A lot of them, as you heard just from the names, not so great. But yeah, definitely give that a watch. Just look up OSW Review, either at their website, oswreview.com, or you can watch some of their podcasts on YouTube once WWE gives them clearance, because it's got a lot of that backdated footage and whatnot. Also on this date in 1974, Orlando Mason Jordan was born. The former TNA star and former WWE United States champion turns 44 today. You might remember Orlando Jordan as part of JBL's cabinet, and very, for better or worse, very rainbowed out in TNA in the early 2010s as they were playing off of his real-life bisexuality. Way to stay classy, TNA. Well, I mean, come on. Total nonstop action, and that was what it stood for, but I think we know a little bit better, tongue-in-cheek. So, yeah, class wasn't their strong suit back then. Moving on quickly to the Brucey bonuses, as Ted's chuckling in the background here. 5 things outside of the world of wrestling. First, on this date, we're going way back. In 1926, Elizabeth Alexandra Mary was born. The reigning Queen of the United Kingdom and other Commonwealth realms, including Australia, New Zealand, and Canada, among many others. Basically, when you hear the international phrase, God Save the Queen, they're talking about this 66-year reigning monarch, better known as Queen Elizabeth.
Oh, that Elizabeth.
Yeah, that Elizabeth. She turns 92 today. On this date in 1935, Charles Grodin was born, the actor and political talk show host, known for his role as the patriarch in the family comedy movie series Beethoven, and his mock-heated confrontations with late-night hosts Johnny Carson and David Letterman. And childhood memory for me, he had a nice part in The Great Muppet Caper in 1981. Yeah, as Nicky Holiday. He turns 83 today. Wow, yeah, he always seemed to play roles that were like 15 years younger than he actually was. Man ages well, what can I say? On this date in 1951, Antonio Salvatore Iadanza was born. The former pro boxer and actor best known for roles on comedy series Taxi and Who's the Boss, better known as Tony Danza, turned 67 today. Should have thrown that in the Italian-American hour earlier. On this date in 1970, Jeffrey Allen Anderson was born. The actor, director, and writer best known for his role as Randall Graves in the movies Clerks and Clerks 2, as well as the ever-brief Clerks the Animated Series, turns 48 today. You mean you wouldn't chop off your foot for the flying car? Yeah, not a bad Randall impression. And finally, on this date in 1980, Antonio Ramiro Romo was born. A lot of Italian names today. The television analyst for the NFL and former 4-time Pro Bowl quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, boo, turns 38 today. I will say, though, he is a really good analyst. Just his ability to be able to look at the field and be able to see what's going on and know what's happening before it happens. And he's had to be dialed back on a few occasions by Jim Nantz, and now he's gotten really good at, watch this player here because he knows what's going to happen before it happens. I mean, I don't know if we're going to quite change from, the Madden video game franchise to Romo, but who knows? Could be anything down the road here. Anyway, that's going to just about do it for me here. Ted Efaw is up next with the Country Roads, and, well, until next week, play us out, Nutsy.
1 o'clock and all's well.
Celebrating 60 years of broadcasting excellence, we're 1490 WBC.